Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live. Life in Focus. What a wonderful day. What a wonderful time. I know some of you may have had a good day. Some of you may have what you consider a bad day. But actually, we cannot say it's a good or bad day until all the days are in. Because I know sometimes when we think tragedy happens, it turns out to be a great blessing to us. And sometimes when we think we have a great blessing, it turns out to be a tragedy. So, life in focus. Can you see clearly tonight? The goals and where you want to be, where you're going, what God has for you. And we know that, or we want to say, never quit arriving. You started a journey, hopefully. We've been talking about clarity of thought, talking about first principles. I want you to understand that as you begin this journey, it's the ultimate destination that we have in mind, but there's increments along the way that we have to overcome to get to where we want to be, and things we need to learn. We need to seek out wisdom. So the announcement tonight is that we have a reboot class, reboot recovery for combat veterans. It's for people that have PTSD and are suffering from that in their lives. We're here to help you. It's every Thursday night at 6 o'clock at the First United Bank in Bonham, Texas, in the Maze Room. We're there every Thursday night at 6 o'clock. It's from 6 to 8 o'clock. It's a 12-week class. We invite you to come. God is there. Great blessings. People are being helped and changed and helped along the way to overcome the horrors that they have experienced in wartime and in combat. We also have a time of fellowship at the end where we have dinner furnished and we eat in fellowship and get to know each one at a greater level. So it's time for our theme song tonight. This is the theme song of Making Dreams Real. It's written and produced by David Whitfield. It's performed by Lindsay Reeves, my granddaughter. What a wonderful angel she is. I love her very much.
Lift the load from my shoulders. Shake the chains from my heart. Let the crushed and silent voice within declare a new start. Song of renewal deep in my heart, sung in the daylight, sung in the dark. Troubles in this life weigh on my mind, but I live stronger to leave them behind.
Okay, the last few weeks we've been discussing first principles, the basic things that we build out of. What you do, first principles are you don't take something that has been built previously and just change it a little bit and tweak it a little bit. First principles you break down to the very fundamental raw materials and processes and methods to make something happen. The very basic. A lot of people go on and try to improve on what's went before, and that's okay. We see that our space agency in America has built this spaceship and they based it somewhat on the space shuttle, and they've had a tremendous tough time getting it into space. We see another company that took first principles, broke rocket ships down into the very basics of what's needed to make a rocket ship, and they've launched, I think, 23 rockets this year. The other one has been trying to get theirs off the ground for, I think, since 2010 or something like that. So, the first principles that we're looking at, we started out with clarity of thought. Started out that the prodigal son was in the hog pen and he had clarity of thought. His mind came to him and he was able to think through things and then he was able, that was the first principle. The second principle is that he made a decision. He had a choice to make. So he made a choice. He had clarity of thought and he was able to think clearly for some period of time, and then out of that clarity of thought came a decision. He made a decision. I'm going to go back to the basics of life. I'm going back to my father's house where he has plenty and I'm in this big old mess here. The next thing we looked at was behaviors. He not only had a moment of thought, of clarity, he not only made a decision, but he acted on it. And he changed what he was doing, changed his behavior, and started a new behavior process. Get up and get back to where you need to be. So you need to do that. Let your mind have some clarity of thought. Make a decision. A decision is one thing. Making a decision is one thing. But then if you do not act upon that decision, nothing will ever change. So the next thing, you have to change your behavior and do that. So tonight we're going to talk about relationships, okay? This is the final and fourth basic that we have to get back out of addiction or mental health issues, whatever it may be. We want you to know that this is one of the things that destroys a lot of the three first basics is relationships. Relationships are very important to our lives. God said, if the blind lead the blind, they'll both fall into the ditch, and neither one of them can see clearly. There is a story about this man that he was talking to some 4 or 5 different young adults, teenagers, in their final teenage years. He was talking to them, and they were talking about marriage and getting their lives going and all the things that they had planned. And several of them were talking about marriage. And he began to expound to them this. He said, if one of you love horses and are just obsessed with horses, and another one of you loves fishing, loves to go fishing, wants to go fishing every day. When he gets off work, he either goes to the pond, goes to the lake, gets his boat, goes out there. He's fishing all the time. So this lady, we'll say the girl is obsessed with horses. She hates fishing. And the guy, he loves fishing and hates horses. And they get married. And you can exist on love and physical oneness for a few years maybe. But after a while, that incompatibility will destroy that relationship. So if you are trying to live a life of sobriety, live a life that you get over and you're able to function again in society, in mental illness, and learn how to function. If you team up with somebody in a toxic relationship, then probably it will destroy your desire to be successful in life and in the life of sobriety. I know a lot of people that think that they cannot live without the opposite sex. Not having a relationship with the opposite sex for a period of time is not a fatal issue. It is very important that your life, you get everything together. So if you are coming out of prison, and you've been in prison, say, for 10 years, and things change dramatically in 10 years, and you get out, and you do not have a job, do not have a support system, do not have anybody to help you, then you are going to be in a bad situation. Number one, and I'm not putting anybody down here, you have nothing to offer at that point. You cannot support a family, you cannot support a relationship because you are totally needy yourself and you need someone to help you get back into society again and teach you the things. I know I have a friend that got out of prison some time ago, and he had been in prison for 28 years, and so he went in prison in the 80s, and there wasn't any cell phones. Okay, there wasn't any debit cards. I think there were credit cards and gas cards, but no debit cards. And the stores you went in and the checker entered every deal in, okay, the groceries that you bought, and then you give them cash and paid for them, and they sacked them for you. He went in the store and he bought groceries and put them in his cart, and then he got up to the checkout stand and didn't know what to do. And so he just left his cart there and run away because he didn't know what to do. And he went back later, and the lady helped him and taught him and instructed him on what to do in that situation. Okay? And he did not get into a relationship for probably 2 or 3 years that I know of. And he got his life together. He got him a wonderful job. He saved his money, bought him a car. He was working at a place that he was making minimum wage. He had nothing but an old junky truck. And he got him a good job. He worked hard. He showed up every day. And he prospered, saved his money, and made a life for himself. And he went on to a different job that was better, and his intellect and his ability to function in that, he didn't get into relationships that drug him down. Okay? So you don't actually have to have a partner. If you're a lady, you can get by without a man. You don't have to have a man in your life. Typically, if you immediately latch onto a man when you come out of prison or a woman, typically it drags you down. There are exceptions to the rules, but typically it drags you down. So you want to have the right relationships, and you want to not have a relationship until you have something to offer and bring to the relationship, and the person you're getting into the relationship with has something to offer, and it's not just lust. Okay? Sex is a wonderful thing. God created it. Okay? But sex alone is not sufficient to sustain a relationship. You need love. You need something that you bring to the relationship to help you. So these basics, after you start a new behavior, you have to develop yourself and your resources before you enter into a relationship, or it will probably drag you down. I don't know how many people I know that got their lives together. Everything was getting restored in their lives. And then they teamed up with somebody, and it just destroyed everything. They gave up everything that God had blessed them with and latched on to somebody that had nothing. And it just sucked the life out of them. Okay? Sucked all the goodness out of them, all the progress out of them. And I know one person that's been back to prison 3 times because they cannot. I call them dumpster relationships. You can get stuff out of the dumpster, and some of it might be good, and there might be something in the dumpster you can eat if you're hungry. But you can't sustain life living in a dumpster. And if you get your relationships out of a dumpster, then that's what you're going to get is trash. And it's going to bring destruction in your life and bring nothing. So we got to have clarity of thought. We got to make a decision. And it's not fun sometimes not having a relationship. It gets lonely at times. But you got to make the right decisions. And then next, you got to change your behavior and do something positive with your behavior. And fourthly, you got to have the right relationship. And sometimes the right relationship is not having a relationship. Okay? Life can be a relationship. God can be a relationship. Books can be a relationship. Do and pursue things that are positive and that will make your life better. And in due season, the Bible said, in a specific time frame, everything will turn out for you and your life will just take off in a positive manner, and you can get yourself into a great relationship, into a great new life, and your life can be totally reinvented. Well, our time is up. We got to go. Thank you for attending tonight. I pray that God will help you get down to first principles. Okay? First principles. Those are the most important things. All the other things will come at the proper time, and you can get your spaceship off the ground and in the air. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.